Hi everyone, I'm going to take you through what the TNGA looks like on a raised relief map. Start out by zooming in here to Clemson, where I did my undergrad. Really got into biking here, so it's the area I'm most familiar with. Going out here up Highway 28 past Walhalla and up mountains past Mountain Rest, and eventually you make it to the Chattooga River, which is the border between Georgia and South Carolina. So that's where the TNGA starts, the middle of the bridge there. Starts climbing immediately. You're climbing, make the left on War Woman, and the quick right on the dirt road, which is on the map, at least for beginning before we got off of that. I was tracing based on the GPS data on my overlaid on this same map on my phone, so I could see like what letters it was supposed to go between and other landmarks, creeks and everything. So Darnell, which pretty much just followed the path of the creek down all the way to Dillard. So that's the Darnell single track, and then coming across on an actual road, pavement, making that left on a dirt road on the map, following that all the way on around, eventually making it over here to Highway 76 right here. The top of Georgia Hostel and the Appalachian Trail, and then the left, or excuse me, a right as we were racing, making this right onto this really old forest road, which was on this map. The map data, the road data here is from 1954. So it was fun to see all the roads that were on this map that we used in our race that are now either abandoned or just, Forest Service fire roads now. A lot of them have turned into single track even. All right, so then it's a little bit hard to tell in this picture, but that's Dismal Mountain there. And we went up and over there and then down, turned around, came back up. Big climb there, all the way up. This is Trey Mountain. It's not labeled, but the Trey Mountain descent down to Helen is this section here. And this is where all the tree fall was. Lots and lots of trees down, all the way down to, we didn't actually go into Helen, we're the outskirts, kind of Robertstown. There's a gas station here. That's where we all came together, me, Dave, Bailey, and Kurt and Jason were just ahead of us, had left to go up on this climb. Now, interesting thing is I was tracing this, the state highway that goes up Hogpen Gap here was not on this map. So there was no road, no dirt road, anything. So that must be a newer road, at least newer than 1954. On the map here. So up and over, down the super fast descent. The high speed part of the descent is right here. 52 miles an hour for me on this that straight section there. The left turn here onto the dirt, gravel, double track, all the way up to US Highway 19, which is the bold road there. The descent down to the left turn to take up Wolf Pen, and you can see Wolf Pen climbing, then up on the Duncan Ridge. And you run out of map, so we gotta go over here to the Rome map now. All right, so over here on the Rome map, this is coming off Duncan Ridge. I remember that as being a gradual, fast section, gradual rolling descent, eventually back out onto pavement. And by this point, it was dark and raining. Remember stopping to put my rain bag back over my backpack through there. Also stopping to change clothes in here. It was on the Toccoa River somewhere. That's where Iron Bridge is and everything. Then coming up through here, you get into Dial, so this is all paved roads. And you make a turn off of the paved road here onto the Ascot Trails, I believe is what it's called, Ascot Trails. And started out with some nice single track. I filtered water in this creek here, and then you get up the Stanley Cap climb, which was just awful. That climb and descent back down to pavement, and that was paved or a really good dirt road there. That section underneath the word national there. So drop down to Cherry Log there, then across, and by this point it was still dark in Cherry Log. This was a really hard section. I'm trying to think of where the Pinhoti started. I don't think we had hit it yet, but this was a hard section, lots of ups and downs. I think it was single track, which makes me think it was part of the Pinhoti. But then going on up here, winding around, State Route 2. I just think that's hilarious. I mean, you have a paved road, starts out paved, and then changes to dirt, a very extremely steep dirt road. But the whole time my Garmin was saying riding on State Route 2, State Road 2, State Highway 2 or something. And sure enough, it's marked a big 2 here on the map. So this is the Potato Patch climb. Coming into, I think one of these intersections here is where the Cohutta Race hits it. And then continuing on up. And then the big drop off there. Down, and definitely hitting the Pinhoti by here. One of these here. So I think this is Pinhoti 2 even. Because there is Mulberry Gap right there. So you got Mulberry Gap, and then I stopped there briefly, turned around, came back up, did the Fort Mountain climb, Pinhoti 3, and then Pinhoti 4, and is basically the ATV trail coming off the ridge, and Pinhoti 5, the super steep drop down, and then the funnest section of Pinhoti for me was this section right here. It's kind of rolling downhill, single track on a really old abandoned road, yeah, I really enjoyed that, and especially knowing that I was having a lot of pavement coming up ahead. So all of this is pavement through the valley, making our way over here to Dalton. So here in Dalton, you've got the main road we used, according to my GPS data, had not been built in 1954. Though I think that this map, the Rome map, is actually 58. But it had not been built. And so I had the GPS overlay, so I traced the approximate route. The road up the Doug Mountain climb was not on this map either. And then you get to the Snake. Now the Snake was really interesting because just like in real life, it was very difficult to trace across the top of that mountain. The marker kept on slipping off the side. It gives you an idea of how narrow and rugged those mountains are there. So I traced it around, and then this is all Pinhoti, up and down, and then daylight somewhere around here, maybe the word national. This is about where it's getting sunrise. I actually was on Taylor Ridge, that's right. I mean, it was sunrise proper on Taylor Ridge, so it was probably getting started to get light on the climb itself. Then coming down Taylor Ridge, crossing US 27, continuing on the ridge. There's lots of ups and downs. Even though it looks like you're on top of the ridge, there was a lot of hills across the top there. And then finally dropping down off of this long ridge line onto Georgia 100. And then for us, a rails to trail that it's not finished, but on this map, it looks like an active railroad. So that made it easy to trace. It just traced the active railroad around. You can kind of see how rugged that area is, even though it was flat for us on the railroad. And then weaving our way through there. Dropping down to the gas station I stopped at. Also had a flat tire in there on that rails to trail. Gas station. And the bypass had not been built in 1958. The Rome bypass. So I traced it based on what it looked like on my phone. And then coming down to some roads that were there. Then coming down here to Cave Spring. through the Cave Spring area, and then the Eastham Hill Road. Oh, this last section of the Pinhoti here, so there's logging. So logging through here, lots of big mud, wide road, and then getting onto the last section of the Pinhoti, which is really fun. Taking you out to Eastham Hill Road, which is a gradual climb up to US 278 and the Silver Comet, the railroad grade, and then the finish there at the Alabama border. So that takes you through all of the TNGA on a raised relief map. It's really hard to get perspective here this close up, but you can kind of trace it up through there, back Cohutta area, Fort Mountain, Cohutta area, Helen, Trey Mountain, and then back across over there to the start. So this whole area, this is our stairwell. We've got the Knoxville map, the Greenville map, pieced together in a frame since my college days, so these are 20-something years old. The newer maps that I've pieced together since we moved here, all connected together. This map is out of print, out of stock, can't find it anywhere, so I printed it, printed it, made it look raised relief, but it's actually flat. And then there's Birmingham there, and all the ridges I ride now. So going on up the other way, you've got connected over here to Charlotte, and up above that, Winston-Salem, and then on up into Virginia and Maryland, all pieced together, the Appalachian Mountains, all the way up to Pennsylvania, Maryland, and that's Baltimore right there. All right, and that's it.